My child, tonight I stand at the threshold of your heart. Do you hear the trembling knock? In the next breath, a silent storm will press against your peace, and only the ears honed by my spirit will discern its danger. If you delay now, you may awaken under its weight, cut off from the glory I'm poised to pour in. Open wide, guard your soul with the wisdom I grant, and watch as I break through. But the moment to choose is passing, even as you listen. In the moments you thought you had been abandoned, I was, in fact, drawing nearer than ever. I come to you now because you are standing at the threshold of a transformation far greater than your understanding can presently grasp. But know this, it is not random, it is not meaningless, and it is never beyond my sovereign hand. My child, there will be someone who enters your life, not as an obvious adversary, but as one who carries with them a distinct energy, something your soul will feel immediately upon their arrival. This person will not need sharp words or aggressive actions to wound you. Instead, their very presence will create a silent disturbance in the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you. You will feel it as if the air around you has shifted, as though something sacred has been unsettled, a sensation that defies description but resonates deeply and unmistakably. They do not intend to destroy, but all that they carry, their unhealed wounds, their hidden burdens, their unresolved entanglements, will clash with the atmosphere of holiness I am building within you day by day. Therefore, do not be swayed solely by kind eyes or pleasant words. Listen instead to your spirit, for I have taught you how to recognize when your peace is being stirred. This is not blind suspicion. It is a spiritual gift, a sacred discernment granted by my spirit, so that you may remain in the light and not be seduced by sweetness that masks deception. I am allowing this to take place not to bring you pain, but to train you in wisdom. Through this person, you will learn to perceive what seems harmless on the surface. You will learn to distinguish between true light and the imitation that disguises itself as goodness. You will learn to remain steadfast even when confusion and chaos disguise themselves in seemingly innocent relationships. In this, I will raise you as a spiritual gatekeeper, one who knows how to recognize, to protect, to preserve the sacred space I have entrusted to you. One who knows how to close the entry points where darkness seeks to slip in. I do not teach you to be suspicious of all people, but I train you so that you will not be easily misled by appearances that seem right. My child, do not let kindness cause you to close your eyes to truth. Do not let the fear of being misunderstood silence your voice when your soul is sounding an alarm. The sensitivity you are experiencing is not weakness. It is my whisper within you. The unease in your atmosphere is a signal. The restless nights, the distracted prayers, the heaviness that lingers without explanation. These are all signs that I am speaking to you. Rise, watch, pay attention. You may find yourself torn, part of you wanting to believe in the goodness of this person, yet another part sensing something unsafe, something not entirely pure. And I say to you, I have not called you to walk in illusions, but in the light, and true light can never coexist with darkness, even when that darkness wears a pleasant disguise. If their presence dims your freedom in prayer, if it causes you to withdraw inwardly, if it leaves your spirit feeling dry, then that is the moment to pause and heed the voice deep within your soul. Listen, child, not just with your ears, but with your spirit, because I am teaching you to walk by what is eternal, not by what is comfortable. The lesson you are about to learn will not be gentle, but it is essential for your spiritual maturity. I am not allowing this to happen in order to hurt you, but to teach you how to guard the atmosphere of my presence. You do not need to remove anyone, but you must learn to establish sacred boundaries. You need to understand that not everyone is permitted to enter the holy ground I am building within your heart. This is not selfishness, it is faithfulness, for I cannot pour out my glory into a space filled with disorder. My beloved, when this moment arrives, you will understand why I have spent so long teaching you to discern spiritual atmospheres, why I have awakened within you a divine sensitivity that surpasses mere logic. You believed you were weak, but in truth, I was training you to become strong. You thought you were facing a trial, but in reality, I was leading you through a new gateway where you would no longer be the one affected, but the one who sets the spiritual climate within your own space. I waste nothing. Even the disturbance, when viewed through the light of the Holy Spirit, becomes a platform for you to rise in awareness and authority. Do not be afraid. Do not panic. Do not let someone's presence cause you to forget that I, the Eternal One, dwell within you, and I am greater than anyone else knocking at the door of your heart. Rise up, guard the gates of your soul. Pray not from a place of trembling, but from clarity. Listen not to judge, but to discern. And when you recognize what is not from me, you will know how to preserve your peace, even when everything around you begins to shake. For I am teaching you this, not to instill fear, but to set you free. And once you learn to protect the dwelling place of my presence within, that very place will become a temple of glory where I can reveal my power, my wisdom, and my love more fully than ever before. My beloved child, there are connections that seem harmless, but in truth, they are spiritual cords the enemy quietly uses to pull your soul off the path I have appointed. I need you to grasp this. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not everyone who appears to need your healing has been sent to walk the full journey with you. Some are only meant to teach you how to close a door that I did not open, and that person, the one you're thinking of right now, is such an example. Do not bind your life to that person, whether out of compassion or a sense of responsibility. I am not asking you to hate or turn away with coldness, but I am warning you. Do not allow them to take root within your soul, a place I have sanctified to be the dwelling of peace and sacred presence. If you allow them too deep a place in your heart, you will begin to feel things stirring inside you that do not belong. Vague thoughts, unsteady emotions, spiritual confusion. These will not come from you nor from me, but from the influence that has entered through a connection you did not guard. My child, this person is not evil, but within them are things that remain unhealed. Wounds, buried experiences, fears they themselves cannot name. And when a soul carrying many fractured pieces enters the life of someone I am refining in holiness, a collision occurs. Not loud, not obvious, but strong enough to disrupt your inner stability. That person carries with them a spirit of disorder, not out of malice, not with bad intentions, but it is still disruption nonetheless. It is an unsettled energy, an unstable atmosphere, a subtle current seeping into the quiet spaces I have been using to teach you how to live deeply and silently. You do not need to fully understand why it affects you the way it does. What you need is enough obedience to recognize this one truth. This is not something I have given to you. True peace does not cloud the mind. Authentic love does not disturb the soul. A connection from me will never push you into prolonged tension or force you to hold on to something that is draining the very life from you. Pay attention, my child, when you start feeling like you have to reshape yourself just to keep them around. Be cautious when their presence begins to make it difficult for you to pray, hard for you to hear me, or nearly impossible to hold on to the clarity you once carried. That is a sign. That is the warning of the Holy Spirit, not loud, but unmistakably clear. I do not want you to continue in a relationship that slowly pulls you away from the stillness I have been training you to cherish. Just say the word. I have planted within you a sacred ground, a holy territory in your soul where my presence longs to dwell securely. Do not allow that ground to be stirred up by winds blowing from hearts that have not yet found peace. I am not asking you to shut your heart to every wounded soul, but I am teaching you to discern spiritual boundaries. Not every hurting person is sent to you for healing. Not every injury is your assignment. There are wounds only I can mend, and if you interfere outside of my timing, you will take on burdens that were never meant for you. That person may need help, but not by stepping into the sanctuary of your inner life. You can love without letting them invade. You can intercede for them without swinging the gates of your soul wide open. You can reach out your hand while still guarding your heart. This is what I am teaching you now. Spiritual boundaries do not make you love less. They grow you in a love that discerns and matures. And my child, what breaks my heart is this. Many of my beloved ones have allowed misaligned connections to cloud their discernment, to confuse their faith, and to cause them to question even what I once spoke so clearly. They think they are acting out of love, but in truth, they are exchanging their peace for something that never came from me. Do not let that be your story. Guard the atmosphere I am cultivating within you. Protect the stillness I am teaching you to treasure. Keep your heart in the light where confusion cannot hide. If that person requires you to silence the parts of yourself that belong to me just to maintain the connection, then it is time to release them. Not because you despise them, but because you choose to remain faithful. You cannot save anyone while you are losing your spiritual clarity. You cannot lift someone else up if you are drowning in the same tide. You can only lead others to me if you are standing firmly in my light. And sometimes leading someone to me is not done by holding on, but by letting go, so I can move in ways only I can. My precious child, do not let your heart tremble at what you are about to face. I have not called you to live in fear, because I, the one who created the heavens and uphold the universe by the power of my word, am with you. There is no darkness my light cannot penetrate. There is no scheme of the enemy I have not already seen, and there is no door that others may shut that I do not hold the key to open. But because I love you, and because you were destined for great things, I have come to say this to you. Walk in wisdom. Do not assume that every challenge comes from an obvious enemy. Do not think that danger always arrives in a storm of violence. In truth, some of the fiercest storms in your spiritual life begin as gentle breezes. Many of the things that trouble your soul do not enter with loud disruptions, but with a sweet and silent stillness. That is why I have given you not only strength, but discernment, a gift that cannot be seen with the eye, but is absolutely vital. If you are to remain steadfast in moments that appear harmless, you must learn to see through the eyes of the Spirit, not merely through emotion. Because there will be times when something stirs your heart, not because it comes from me, but because it touches a wound in you that has yet to be healed. That person will come not to shatter you violently, but to awaken the tender places, the vulnerable corners of your soul that you have not yet fully surrendered to me. And you might mistake this as an opportunity to love more deeply, to sacrifice more willingly, to cling more sincerely. But my child, this is not a lesson in affection. This is a test of spiritual wisdom. That person will not break everything in a single night. No, the disruption will come slowly, like a soft wind that lulls you into letting your guard down. They will not shatter your peace with noise, but with a quiet presence that slips in unnoticed. With conversations that unsettle your mind, with glances and words that make you wonder, could this be a test for me to love as Christ loves? But I tell you, no, this is not a test of love. It is a test of boundaries. This is where I desire to see if you have matured enough to choose what is right, even when what is wrong wears a pleasant face and speaks with gentle words. Wisdom is not about avoiding everyone, but about recognizing what must not be allowed to take root. You can greet someone without giving them residence. You can be kind without handing over your heart. You can pray for them without flinging open the doors of your soul. And this ability to live in love while still holding sacred boundaries is exactly what I am shaping in you right now. Remember this. Not every stirring of emotion comes from me. Not every sense of resonance is a sign that I have sent someone. Sometimes what feels like connection stems from similar wounds, not shared life. Sometimes people find each other, not because they are drawn by light, but because they are lured by a familiar darkness. And if you do not recognize this, you will trade the purity of your spirit just to keep something that seems beautiful on the outside, but is slowly consuming you from within. I am coming to you tonight not to point out what is wrong with them, but to guard your heart from stumbling. I know you don't want to hurt anyone. I know your heart is tender. But, my child, kindness must never be an excuse to surrender your clarity. I am calling you to be a mature child, one who knows how to love without blindness, one who knows how to open their heart while building firm spiritual walls. Do not be surprised when everything seems smooth at the start. Do not assume that the absence of obvious obstacles means the path is for me. Some traps are adorned with roses. Some snares do not snap shut, but instead slowly tighten their grip on your soul through a series of small compromises, and you will not even realize it until my voice becomes faint and distant to your ears. I do not want that to happen to you. So keep your spirit anchored in the stillness of the Holy Spirit. Let me lead each step. Ask me before every decision. Listen carefully to the warning within your heart, even if it comes as softly as a whisper. And if something causes a lingering unease within you, do not brush it aside, for I am not the one who brings confusion. I am the God of peace, of clarity, and of freedom. My beloved child, just as you have heard, I have called you to walk in love, a love that is unconditional, uncalculating, and not based on who is deserving. For I myself am love. But my child, the love I give is not the same as blind attachment. I teach you to love all people, but I never told you to fling open the gates of your heart to anyone who wishes to enter. Listen closely to this gentle truth I am speaking to you now. This is the time for you to learn how to keep distance without falling into contempt. This is the moment when you must know how to set firm boundaries without letting bitterness enter your soul. And this is the season to walk in humble wisdom, not in pride or self-righteousness, but with a clear understanding of what should be protected, what should be avoided, and what must be refused. True love is not weak, and true wisdom is never cold. When you choose to guard your heart from what is not sent by me, it is not a rejection of others. It is honor for the presence I am cultivating within you. When you choose to deny access to the sacred spaces of your inner being, it is not arrogance. It is deep obedience to what I am building. For the work I am doing in your soul cannot be mixed. It cannot be shared with what has not been refined. And my child, I say this not to make you suspicious of people, but to help you understand not everyone is meant to enter the holy place of your heart. There are some who are meant to be loved from a distance. There are some who appear in your life so you may intercede for them, not so that you may connect with them. And there are some whom I allow to enter solely to test the maturity of your spiritual growth. You must learn to discern, not because the person is evil, but because they are not yet ready to step into the place where I am planting what is sacred in you. If you allow a hand that has not been consecrated to touch that holy ground, the very things I am nurturing may begin to wither, not because I lack the power to restore, but because you did not guard it as I instructed you to. Imagine your heart as a garden where I am planting precious seeds: peace, wisdom, reverence for me, depth in faith, and spiritual sensitivity. Each day I water it with my presence, with my word, and with quiet instruction during your times of prayer. And if someone comes carrying the dust of unwashed journeys and steps into that garden hastily, will the tender shoots remain unharmed? Will the roots stay grounded when the atmosphere has been disturbed by hands that do not yet comprehend the weight of holiness? I know you long to love without limits, because your heart has been molded in my image. But I want you to learn this: love does not conflict with watchfulness. Sometimes protection is the highest form of love. When you love someone enough not to let them harm themselves by entering a place they are not yet ready to step into, you are not rejecting them. You are simply standing in the exact place I have called you to. You are not cold. You are faithful to what I am teaching you to protect. Guard the spiritual atmosphere around you like a watchman guards the temple. Let your spiritual ears be sensitive to subtle signals, to disturbances that seem accidental. When you begin to find it hard to pray, when the stillness of your soul starts being disrupted by unfamiliar emotions, know that something has slipped in, not through a loud cry, but through untested intimacy. Protect your mind as a sacred refuge that I am cleansing. Do not let conversations that are not led by my Spirit fill the silent spaces within you. Do not allow emotional entanglements to steal away the depth of the connection you are cultivating with me. Guard the roof over your head, both literally and spiritually, for that place is the ground where I have planted my protection, my presence, and my good intentions. Every unfamiliar influence, no matter how subtle, if left unrecognized, will slowly erode the foundation. And my child, do not be afraid. If choosing to live set apart makes you appear isolated in the eyes of others, I did not call you to fit into the times. I called you to align with heaven. The solitude you feel right now is the space where I am removing the excess ties so you can hear me more clearly. And at the appointed moment, I will send to you those whose atmosphere aligns with yours, those who walk in holiness and reverence for me. They will not damage the sacred garden within your heart. Instead, they will nurture it alongside you, intercede with you, and journey with you through the path I have laid out. So walk in the light of discernment without fear and without confusion. You were not created to please everyone, but to bring delight to me. And if you remain faithful in guarding what is holy within you, I promise you will see fruit, not only within yourself, but also in the lives of those whom you have chosen to love rightly, from the right place, with the right spiritual boundaries. For you belong to me, and you are set apart. And what I am doing within you must also be set apart, unable to be diluted, unable to be seized, unable to be stolen. Guard this as you would guard your very life, for it is the treasure I am entrusting to you. One day you will understand that everything you chose to refuse for my sake was, in truth, what I had long been protecting you from. My beloved, I am preparing you for a great elevation, but not in the way the world expects. This is not a promotion for you to stand upon man's stage, nor an exaltation that earns you the praise of human tongues. The lifting I am doing is not to grant you fame, but to give you authority, not so you may walk into your own glory, but so you may enter into the weight of my purpose. I am preparing a strengthening from my own hand, a silent but weighty spiritual transition, so that you may be established not on the shaky ground of public recognition, but on the unshakable foundation of consecration, depth, and radical obedience. You do not need to fight for a place among the crowd, for I am giving you a position that no one else can occupy, a place marked out in the spirit realm where your voice will resonate, not because of its volume, but because of the weight of my presence. I am placing within you a power that the enemy cannot replicate and that no human can measure. It is the kind of authority that is born only through seasons of crushing, through silent nights, and through closed doors known only to you and me. The voice I give you will not merely be made of words. It will be a sound from the divine realm, forged in stillness, fueled by tears, and seasoned through the choices you made to obey even when no one was watching. You will not need to strive to be heard, because your voice will carry my signature. It will pierce through spiritual atmospheres. It will reach places you never physically step into. It will stir hearts not by the wisdom of this world, but by the life formed in you during the unseen battles you have fought. And it is not just a voice. I am placing upon your shoulders a mantle, not a garment of worldly splendor or human applause, but a mantle woven with sacred weight. It is stitched with threads of faithfulness, soaked in the moments you fell and rose again, in the choices you made to do what was right, even when wrong seemed easier. This mantle will not be comfortable to wear, for it is not merely an honor, it is a responsibility. It does not merely set you apart among people, but it makes you visible in the realms of angels and darkness alike, where the enemy will recognize, this one has been anointed, commissioned, and empowered by the Most High. You will carry a presence that cannot be hidden, a presence that does not stem from talent, experience, or the training of men, but from the secret place where I met you. It is in those times when I inhabited the stillness of your soul that your heart became an altar, your life became a sanctuary, and your every step began to bear the imprint of heaven. So do not be surprised if you find yourself being pulled away from the noise others still chase. Do not be alarmed when doors that were once open now seem closed. Do not interpret this silence as delay. It is the sacred space where I am preparing you for what cannot be seen with natural eyes. What I am about to place in your hands cannot be received in haste. It requires deep refining, complete purification, and a saturation of my presence, so that when you walk, the atmosphere shifts. When you speak, clarity comes, and when you pray, spiritual realms tremble. I do not need you to become prominent. I need you to become mine, fully mine, anchored in truth, unwavering in obedience. And when you embrace elevation without the need for applause, I will entrust you with things that no man can ever take from you. Fame may fade, opportunities may vanish, but the anointing from heaven is eternal. And I am placing that anointing on your life, not so that you may be known, but so that I may be revealed through you. You will not walk alone. Angels are being assigned to journey with you in this season. Those I have chosen are also being called to walk alongside you, not to exalt you, but to guard your walk in holiness. The places you once entered as a guest, you will now enter as one who carries a divine assignment. The places where you were once rejected will become the very grounds where my glory is revealed through your life. But you must remember this: authority is not for display, it is for service. Presence is not for impressing, it is for rescuing. The mantle is not for pride, it is to carry a sacred weight. Everything I entrust to you is not to build your image, but to expand my kingdom through you. And if you keep your heart humble, your ears attentive, and your steps aligned with my leading, then you shall see what no eye has seen, hear what no ear has heard, and witness what no mind has imagined become reality upon your life. My beloved child, now that I am preparing to release something into your life, more glorious and sacred than anything you've ever imagined, I need you to grasp a deep truth. You cannot carry what I have destined for you if your hands and heart are still clinging to what no longer belongs in this season. There are things that once had a place in your former journey, that once brought comfort and security. But now, if you continue to hold on, they will become a burden that hinders you from stepping fully into your true calling. You cannot walk lightly into what lies ahead if your heart still clings to things that no longer align with the dreams I am breathing into your soul. I see clearly every single thing you have not yet dared to release for fear of losing something dear. I know there are relationships, thought patterns, even old habits that you still keep tucked away as a refuge because they feel familiar, because they offer comfort, because they do not demand change. But my child, not everything that brings comfort comes from me. Not everything familiar belongs to the path I am inviting you to walk. I do not come to force your hands open with violence. I come to whisper gently into your spirit. If you dare to lay it down, I will place something greater into your hands. If you are willing to release the old, I will give you the new, something beyond what you have imagined. I have never asked you to let go without the intention of restoring. I have never taken anything from your grasp without already preparing something far better just ahead. But you must trust me. You must believe that my hands are more generous than your fears and that my heart is gentler than anything you're holding on to for self-comfort. There is a truth in this. You once asked me, why can't I see the path I'm supposed to take? You cried out through tears, Lord, I don't understand the purpose of my life. Why are things so delayed? Why does my heart feel so heavy and confused? And I have heard every whisper of that plea. But my child, purpose is not always revealed in dramatic actions or visible achievements. Purpose is not only found in what you do, but in who you are becoming. You may accomplish many things without knowing who you are, but you cannot become who I designed you to be unless you let me shape you in the process. And sometimes that process is not loud, not glorious, not noticed by anyone, but it is where I do my greatest work in your soul. I have been forming you in stillness, in the absence of applause, in the absence of the spotlight, in the secret place where it's just you and me. In long nights and moments you thought you were abandoned, but it was in that hidden space that I taught you how to weep in a holy way, how to believe without seeing, how to stand when all strength was gone. You are not forgotten. You are not being left behind. The delay you perceive as failure is actually a layer of protection I have placed around you so that you would not step prematurely into something your spirit is not yet strong enough to sustain. I am not being slow. I am preparing. I am not absent. I am engraving you into a deeper image. And if today you still feel surrounded by darkness, know that a seed does not sprout in blinding light. It grows in the dark, in silence, deep within the soil. So my child, do not grieve when I ask you to release something. Do not fear when I begin to clear away what no longer fits. Do not question why certain people have left, for if they were truly sent for this journey, they would not have walked away. Do not mourn closed doors, for I do not allow anything to end unless it is keeping you from what I've prepared. Sometimes to step into the right thing, you must walk away from what was almost right. And to receive the fullness, your hands must be free to grasp it. I am calling you farther, higher, deeper. But such transformation requires lightness, not in body, but in spirit. What you are holding on to out of familiarity are the very chains keeping you from rising with me. Trust me enough to let go. Love me enough to believe that what I have in store will never leave you in regret. And if today you are hurting because of what you've had to surrender, know that even your tears are softening the soil of your soul, so the seed of purpose might break forth and grow. You are not lost. You are being shaped. Every silence, every stripping away, every seemingly purposeless season of waiting is not without meaning. Even the smallest detail is being used by me to form within you the kind of person strong enough to carry the weight of something truly great. You once cried out for me to use you, and this is how I am answering that cry, by preparing your soul before placing authority upon you. For if you are not trained, what I give will become a burden rather than a blessing. So do not look back at what I have called you to leave behind. Keep moving forward, keep trusting. Walk as one who truly belongs to an unshakable kingdom. For I, who began a good work in you, will bring it to completion. And what I am preparing will not arrive late, will not come lacking, and will not be misaligned. It will come in perfect time, in perfect form, and in fullness of glory. All I need is your willingness to lay things down, and I will pour into you. All I require is the courage to release, and I will faithfully bestow. And what I place in your hands will never bring you shame. My beloved, it is time for you to see yourself through my eyes, not as one who once knelt in desperation with unanswered prayers, but as one who has been long prepared to embody the very answer you once searched the heavens for. The petitions you thought were forgotten in the silence are now being fulfilled within your own life. You once wept and pleaded for me to come, and now I am here, not merely to visit for a moment, but to remain, to enter in, to establish my eternal dwelling within you. Tonight is not just another evening, it is a moment that touches eternity. In the stillness, I am stirring the deepest chambers of your soul, where old wounds have buried dreams, where words of rejection once fastened you in fear. But know this, I do not arrive with loudness. I come in a presence so deep it is gentle enough not to overwhelm you, yet powerful enough to shift the very center of your life. My presence does not need sword or spear, for even my light alone is enough to dissolve the invisible chains that have held you captive for so long. Those things that once clouded your mind, the voices that made you doubt your worth, the memories that held you back from stepping forward, they will lose their grip, not by a fierce shout, but by the peaceful breath of my spirit. I have not come to merely pass through your life, leaving behind only a longing for what could have been. No, this time I have come to stay. If you open the door of your heart, not just a crack out of hesitation, but wide with longing, I will enter. I will not only touch your life, but inhabit it. I will choose your body, your soul, and your will as my dwelling. Not because you are flawless, but because I have chosen you. This is not about ritual. It is not about aligning with a religious system, nor about appearing correct in the eyes of others. This is about sacred connection, a deep bond between a father and his child, between the Creator and the one he lovingly formed. It is a communion far beyond any memorized prayer or repeated ceremony. I am not seeking perfectly choreographed steps. I am seeking the heart that trembles at my whisper, the soul that melts at the nearness of my breath. The relationship I am inviting you into is not confined by time nor imprisoned by limitation. It is a walk side by side, each day, every minute, every breath. I have once stood at the door of your heart, knocking gently, never forcing my way in. But today, I sense the door trembling, not from fear, but from longing. You are hungering for something deeper, not fleeting comforts, not surface-level assurance. You are yearning for a place to belong, a place where even if the world misunderstands you, I do not. A place where even when all others turn away, I still call your name with an unchanging love. And I am here. I myself am that place. You no longer need to strive to be good enough. It is precisely in the moments when you are honest about your weakness and weariness that I come to you as the one who quiets your soul. You don't have to earn worthiness, because I called you worthy from the very first breath you took in this world. I do not measure you by outward achievements, but by your willingness to open your heart to me, even if it's clumsy, even if it's not yet complete. Because when you allow me to dwell within you, what is incomplete will be made whole. What is tangled will be unraveled. What is broken will be mended. You do not yet realize that it is my presence that becomes the key, unlocking rooms in your soul you thought had been sealed forever. Doors of forgotten callings, drawers where childhood dreams were tucked away, hallways you avoided because you felt too small to enter. Each will be illuminated again by the light of my presence. And in that light, you will no longer see yourself through old lenses, but through the tender gaze of heaven. You will no longer feel the need to chase after anyone or compare yourself to those who seem to be ahead. Because as you walk with me, you will see that your timing is not late, your path is not wrong, and you are not missing from the eternal picture I am painting. I do not need you to become someone else. I need you to be you, with your soft heart, your deep longing to belong, and your readiness to let me enter and do something that has never been done before. So don't hold on to the things that once felt safe, but are now keeping me at a distance. Let me replace fear with steadiness, sorrow with living hope. Let me take away form and give you life. Let me transform the darkest part of your being into a sacred altar where I dwell, where love will never be extinguished, where from this moment on, everything will begin again, not by human effort, but by my full and powerful presence. My beloved, when I knock on the door of your heart and invite you into deeper intimacy with me, that is also the moment I call you to prepare. Not only your heart, but also the physical space you inhabit, the place where you breathe, rest, and wait for me. Physical space is not trivial or random. In fact, it reflects what lies deep in your soul. It mirrors either the expectation or the indifference you hold toward me. So now I invite you to tend to your room, not as a task on your to-do list, but as a spiritual act with profound meaning. You are not preparing a place for an ordinary guest, but to welcome the Holy One, the Creator of all things, who still chooses to enter the small room where you live. Clear away the clutter of the past, the objects that no longer carry meaning but linger like heavy memories, the dusty items that symbolize forgotten dreams. Clean every corner as if you were purging your own mind of excess thoughts, useless worries, and soul fragments you've not yet let go. Light a candle, not as a ritual done out of habit, but as a declaration. Lord, this flame is not of my own making, but I long for your light to shine on every shadow I've hidden. That light will not only brighten the room, but also awaken something within your spirit. It is a sign that you are no longer delaying. It speaks of your preparation, your waiting, your hope, not in vague wishing, but in living faith. And when you remove what is no longer needed, when you choose simplicity over accumulation, when you create a space of quiet instead of a suffocating atmosphere, that is the moment you are preparing a table in the wilderness. Not for display, but to receive a king who seeks not a throne of splendor, but a heart that is open, a place that is honest, clean, and longing for his presence. Do you realize that the physical and the spiritual always walk hand in hand, like shadow and form? A cluttered room can reflect a mind filled with doubt and turmoil. A damp and stagnant space can weigh down your soul in ways you might not even recognize. But when you begin to refresh your outward surroundings, wiping clean each hidden corner, arranging every object with mindful intention, then, unknowingly, you are calling your own spirit back into divine alignment. You are declaring to yourself, I choose to live with purpose, to live in the light, to live in anticipation of the sacred. I do not seek perfection, but I am honored when you choose preparation. I do not require large, ornate rooms, but I delight to dwell in places that welcome me with wholehearted sincerity. For atmosphere itself is a kind of prayer, not spoken aloud, yet echoing straight into heaven. When you make your living space clean, peaceful, and full of light, that space becomes an invitation for my presence to dwell, not just for a fleeting moment, but in the rhythm of your daily life. Imagine stepping into a room that has been lovingly prepared, where everything has its place, where a small candle still flickers quietly amidst the stillness. Would your heart not feel a little lighter? You may not hear my voice with your physical ears, but your soul will know that I am there. For I do not come simply because of promises. I come in response to genuine preparation. I am not drawn by eloquence, but by a heart that moves in silence, by the wiping of a table, the folding of a blanket, the lighting of a candle, the opening of a window to let morning light pour in. Do not underestimate the small things, for it is in those seemingly minor but intentional acts that you are sharpening your inner being. You are doing something that the angels witness and rejoice in. You are declaring, "Here in this room, in this home, in this very being, I have made ready a place for the Lord to dwell." And when you do this, not only does the space transform, but so does the atmosphere. The room becomes a sanctuary for peace. The walls are no longer just concrete. They become echoes of silent worship songs. And you, yes you, become part of the living temple I have ordained from eternity. Let the home you inhabit reflect the soul you long to cultivate, orderly, serene, willing, and filled with hope. Do not wait until the miracle appears to start preparing. Prepare as if the miracle is already knocking at your door. Because indeed, the greatest miracle is not what happens outside of you, but what is happening within you when you invite me into every part of your life, your spirit, your mind, even the space you live in day by day. And I, the faithful one, will not merely pass by. I will stay if you offer me a place to abide. My beloved child, when I draw near to perform something great in your life, that is also when darkness seeks to interrupt. Do not be surprised if tonight your heart stirs with unseen resistance, a nameless unease, a restlessness without clear reason, or small interruptions that seem designed to scatter your focus. The enemy knows that my presence is about to reach you deeply. He will not sit idly by as you step into a realm of transformation. He fears the moment you recognize who is truly calling, who is knocking on the door of your soul, and what could unfold if you truly answered. He knows that if you open your heart and devote this evening to quietness before me, the entire season of darkness he has orchestrated will be undone. That is why he will attempt anything, from stirring up an old memory to making your phone vibrate constantly with meaningless messages, or simply causing you to feel too tired to pray. Do not be surprised if you suddenly feel the urge to watch a video, scroll through the news, or think about unfinished tasks. It's not just coincidence, it is a spiritual battle. And in this battle, victory does not come through loud declarations, but through fierce resolve in stillness. Turn off anything that pulls your attention away from me. If needed, switch off your phone, not because it's inherently evil, but because at this very moment, it could become a doorway for foreign voices to invade the sacred space meant only for you and me. Silence the world so you can hear the whisper of heaven. Close the mental compartments filled with must-dos, must-remembers, must-worry-abouts, and open the one door where my presence is already waiting. Let stillness become the sacred sanctuary where you meet with me. Don't mistake stillness for emptiness. It is the space I choose to speak. In that silence, your soul will learn to recognize my breath, to sense the rhythm of my love, and to hear the words I whisper only to you. Words not meant for anyone else. Stillness does not diminish you. It restores you. It strips away the noise that life has layered over your spirit. It gives you back your ability to feel, a sense that this noisy world has long forgotten. This encounter is not like the ones before. It's not a passing prayer. It's not a fleeting emotional moment. It is an invitation into covenant. It is a knock from the faithful one, the one who never promises what he will not fulfill. And because this encounter is sacred, it must be treated with reverence. This is not something you can do while thinking of something else. This is not a moment to fit in for a few minutes. It calls for holiness, not because I need you to be flawless, but because I want you to understand that what I'm about to do in you deserves your full seriousness. You don't need eloquent prayers, you only need an honest heart. You don't have to present yourself as spotless. You simply need the courage to say yes. For in that yes, however small, however trembling, I hear the echo of surrender. I see in you the faith to believe that even if you don't know what's coming next, you still choose to trust that I am good. And that right there is what shakes the heavens. Don't let delay steal this moment. Don't allow the small distractions to drown out the sacred that is knocking at your door. Step into the secret place, not just with your body, but with your mind and soul. Prepare room in your heart as though you were welcoming a king, because that is exactly what you are doing. Not to ask for something, not to be momentarily moved, but to let me stay, to let me dwell, to let me reign. And when you choose stillness, when you choose to turn off the world, so heaven's frequency can be turned on, you will witness me doing far more than you could ever hope for. Not a flash of light that fades, but a quiet and steady shift. Not an outward miracle, but a transformation from the core. You will begin to see clearly the things that once caused you to stumble. You will realize that the enemy has no power beyond what you have permitted. You will feel your spirit grow lighter, not because all burdens vanish, but because my presence renders them powerless to drag you down. My beloved child, every emotion stirring within you right now, the nameless trembling, the waves rising within your soul that you cannot put into words, even the dense silence wrapping around you like a sacred atmosphere, none of this is accidental. These are whispers in advance, signals from eternity declaring that I am drawing near. Not as a concept, not as a story from some distant past, but in the vibrant present of your life. My presence is approaching you step by step, gentle yet full of power. Do not resist. Do not try to explain what is happening. Let the movement unfold within your soul as you would let the wind ripple across the surface of a lake without attempting to control it. I am not a doctrine to be dissected, nor a symbol to be revered from afar. I am the Eternal One, the one who was, who is, and who will always be. Yet at the same time, I am near, real, present. And tonight, I am touching the inner world of your being in a way you have never experienced before. Your soul has been calling my name for a long time, sometimes through tears, sometimes through silent endurance, sometimes through the wearied sighs you couldn't even explain. Perhaps you never realized it. Perhaps your mind never gave a name to that longing. But I have always known. I have known that deep within you there is a hidden echo calling out for home. I have seen you sitting among the crowd and still feeling alone because your heart is searching for something not of this world, and that something is me. I am the one your soul has been longing for, even if your lips have never spoken it aloud. Do not believe you are walking this path alone. Know that across the earth there are many souls waking in the night, listening to the same calling, sensing the same holy stirring. I am awakening those who belong to me, the ones who felt forgotten, the souls who have remained silent for too long, the ones who lived in the noise but could not find meaning. You are not alone. You are part of a greater wave. I am stirring a quiet revival, unseen by the world, but rooted in unshakable purpose. And because you are not alone, you can walk forward in peace. Know this: every step you take is not lost in the void. Each time you choose to listen, to be still, to guard your heart before me, you are drawing closer to the destiny I have ordained for you before the foundations of the universe were laid. Do not think that the sacred is reserved only for those who appear more qualified than you. My presence is not drawn by your excellence, but by my unconditional love. I come because I have chosen you, not because you did everything right, but because I see the treasure within you, even when you've forgotten it yourself. Tonight, my presence is not merely an idea to comfort you for a fleeting moment. It is real, tangible, and deeply felt. If you dare to believe, you will recognize me in every detail. In the quietness draped over your room, in the wave of emotions rising beyond words, in the warmth like invisible arms wrapping around you. I am here, not just to visit, but to dwell. Not just to let you feel me once, but to change the way you live forever. Let every layer of disguise fall away. You don't have to pretend to be strong before me. I am not fooled by your striving. I do not need you to act like you're okay. I see straight into your heart, and I love you right there in your weakness. In fact, it is often your brokenness that becomes the doorway through which I enter more deeply. Because I do not build on pretense, but on honesty, even when it is raw, even when it is drenched in tears. Beloved child, let this night become a milestone in your spiritual journey, not because of some dramatic event unfolding externally, but because of a quiet yet profound transformation that is beginning within. I am igniting within you a flame that nothing can extinguish, a longing for me, a divine yearning that does not arise from fleeting emotions, but from a true encounter. Let your soul open wide, not for me to come and go, but so that I may find a resting place. Let me step in not as a distant guest, but as your sovereign Lord. I have come to heal, to rearrange, to restore you to the original image I formed at the beginning. And when you release your guard, when you say, I don't want to know you from afar, it is in that very moment that I will fill you with a love that surpasses understanding and emotion. A love that silences every fear, crushes every lie of the enemy, and empowers you to rise and walk into the life you were always meant to live. Beloved one, don't think that what's unfolding in your spirit is merely a private experience. No, this is not a moment meant only for you. Widen your gaze. Lift your inner vision, for what you are sensing is part of a divine shift happening across the earth. I am not coming to just one. I am calling many soft-hearted souls, those whose hearts have been shattered, those who have been buried in silence and seemingly forgotten. Across cities and villages, in noisy streets and silent corners, there are others like you, trembling without knowing why, shedding tears in the night with no words to name the feeling, sensing something mighty stirring in their souls. That is because my call is resounding not only in ears but deep in the core of hearts. I am awakening my remnant, those who are not captivated by the glitter of this world, but by the sacred whisper echoing from heaven. You are part of this great turning, not because you are more special than others, but because you are ready. Ready to listen, ready to release, ready to respond. I am gathering those marked by my presence, not those who merely speak of me, but those who carry my very breath in how they live, how they love, how they remain faithful even when no one sees. You are not alone, and you are not lost. You are a chosen piece, a part of the quiet but mighty army I am awakening. These are the ones who carry an unquenchable holy fire. Not a fleeting passion, but a flame forged through trials, through long nights no one knew about, through tears that only I witnessed. They carry the fragrance of my presence not through flashy declarations, but through the hidden life they live daily. They were once hidden by me, not because they were unworthy, but because the timing was not yet right. And now I am calling them forth, not for display, but to be salt and light, to awaken others, to heal and restore. You belong to this movement. You are not late. What you saw as delay has truly been preparation. The years you thought were wasted were in fact the seasons where I was cultivating deep roots in you. While others harvested, you learned endurance. While others advanced, you learned quiet obedience. And now your season has come, not in loud fanfare, but in fullness. You have not been abandoned. You are not an afterthought. I have brought you to this exact moment because the world needs you. Your voice, your obedience, the flame burning in your heart. Do not compare your pace with anyone else's. I do not operate according to the calendar of this world. I move through seasons, through appointed moments that no one can predict. And right now, you are in one of those of the Spirit. You thought you were losing something, but in truth, you were storing up rewards that no one can ever take from you. The blessing I am preparing to release over your life is not a temporary reward, but an inheritance set apart. It is not for those who live by convenience. It does not fall upon hearts that want both worlds, because the oil I am pouring upon your head is the oil of consecration. It requires purity. It demands a resting place that is undivided. My glory is not a fleeting feeling. It is a reality with weight, with power, with holiness woven into its very nature. And not every connection is sturdy enough to bear its weight. You are carrying a treasure within a fragile vessel, but that treasure does not come from your striving. It flows from your persistent choices. You have chosen the narrow way when others have chosen the wide road. You have said no when the majority said, go ahead. You have chosen the stillness of the secret place over the noise of the crowd. And for these things I will raise you up, not in a way the world would recognize, but in a way that only those who walk by faith will understand. I will strengthen you, not just to endure, but to overcome, not merely to survive, but to live victoriously in the midst of dry and barren places. Do you not know that every time you reject what is unholy, you are opening a door for me to work powerfully in your soul? Each time you take a step back from what is unclean, you are actually stepping closer to the deep revelations I long to release to you. Your obedience is not weakness. It is the key that unlocks the promised land, a place many have only heard about but never set foot in. Know this, my child. The glory I am pouring upon you will alter how others perceive you. Some will no longer wish to remain close, not because you have done wrong, but because the light within you exposes the darkness they have chosen to keep. Certain relationships will begin to feel heavy, no longer as effortless as they once were. For the new oil I am anointing you with is creating a necessary spiritual divide. This is not because you have summoned it, but because light and darkness cannot dwell together indefinitely. And this is not a loss, it is a purification. Let me remind you, not every relationship is meant to accompany you to the end of your journey. Some were only assigned to a brief season. There are connections that now must be released, for the weight of my presence upon you demands alignment with what is worthy to walk beside it. I will not allow precious oil to be poured into places that do not honor my presence. And I will not require you to share what is holy with that which is unwilling to steward it. So when I begin shaking you free from things that once felt secure, know this is not punishment, it is preparation. I am preparing you for higher ground, a realm where only those who embrace the cost of obedience can remain standing. It is not a place of popularity, but a place of commissioning. A place where every decision you make will ripple into more lives than you ever imagined. And that is why I must refine you, not because you are unworthy, but because what I long to entrust into your hands is too weighty for a heart not yet ready. You are becoming one who carries the sacred. My presence is no longer visiting and departing. It is dwelling in you, thicker, deeper, clearer than before. And this will require you to live differently, not bound by rigid rules, but led by an inner sensitivity. For I am teaching you how to listen, how to walk with me in each breath. What you perceive in your spirit, even the faintest unease or an unfamiliar whisper, do not disregard it. That is me speaking to you. That is me calling you to walk in a spiritual depth that others may not understand, but you will see the fruit of it in the days to come. Do not fear the feeling of isolation, my child, for sometimes separation is the beginning of commissioning. When I draw you away from the crowd, it is not to leave you empty, but so I can speak what others are unable to hear. When I keep you in stillness, it is not abandonment, but a hiddenness where oil can soak in deeper. And when I begin clearing away the things that once brought you comfort, it is because I want to clothe you with something far greater, something that cannot come as long as you are content with the ease of the familiar. So be brave, keep your heart tender yet resilient. Let every rejection become a note in the song of obedience that you are composing with your life. And know this, not a single sacrifice made for the sake of holiness will go unnoticed by me. Every time you say no to what does not come from me, you are saying yes to a new season that is breaking open before you. And when the moment arrives, I will make it known to the heavens and the earth that you are not merely a keeper of oil, you are anointed to shift the atmosphere around you. End of story number 10. Isaac Mlellan. End of story. You must learn to become a faithful gatekeeper of your soul. For not everyone who knocks should be granted entry. I have placed within you a treasure of great worth, a sacred territory where I plant seeds of life and fill with my own presence. It is a place where the waters of life flow freely, where peace runs like a sweet river through your days. But child, even this river can become muddied if you allow anything or anyone to enter, carrying dust from the world, unchecked and without discernment. Be watchful. Keep your heart burning like a lamp that never goes out, so that it may illuminate even the smallest things that could create cracks within the fortress of your soul. For from that inner sanctuary, everything in your life begins. Your thoughts, emotions, actions, and even the decisions that shape your destiny. If your heart is wounded, your life will drift off course. If your soul is unsettled, my voice will begin to sound unfamiliar. Therefore, do not allow anything or anyone to occupy the place that rightfully belongs to me. The peace you feel within is the silent voice that tells you whether you are near or far from me. It is the most honest indicator, neither artificial nor dressed up. When you start sensing that stillness in your spirit is fading, pause. Ask yourself, who is near me? What have I just welcomed in? What thoughts have I entertained? Has something slipped quietly into my mind, subtle yet powerful, distorting the rhythm of faith within me? Do not mistake compassion for companionship. You are called to love, but not to walk beside every soul. You can bring love to others without handing them the keys to your life. Not everyone is worthy of knowing the sacred chambers of your heart, not because they are bad, but because they are not appointed to step into the territory I've entrusted you to steward. Some are meant to remain on the porch, not because you despise them, but because I am teaching you wisdom through spiritual discernment. You may care deeply for others without throwing open every door of your being. Love does not mean letting down your guard. Kindness does not require you to compromise the spiritual atmosphere I've placed around you. You may stoop to help, but you need not lie down to be trampled. You may serve while still holding your boundaries firm. and you can listen without allowing your soul to be shaped by what others carry. Learn the art of spiritual discernment, the very thing I'm teaching you through every circumstance. Not everyone who says they love me carries my presence. Not every piece of advice comes from heavenly wisdom. Not every person who draws near to you has been sent by me. Some bring the appearance of light, yet they release confusion, envy, doubt, or even a subtle pressure into the atmosphere around you. They do not attack openly, but they quietly erode the foundation. And if you are not watchful, these very things will drain the river of peace flowing within you. What's better for the drainages? Learn to guard the sacred territory I've given you. It is not just your physical space, your home, your work, your time, but also the inner sanctuary of your soul, where I dwell continually. You do not need to explain why you maintain distance. You do not need to feel guilty for setting boundaries. In truth, boundaries are an act of love, a love for your calling and for the sacred things I have entrusted into your care. Not every connection is a divine covenant. Some relationships pull you away from life rather than drawing you closer to it. Some invitations are cloaked in pleasant words, yet they lead you through doors of confusion. And you must have the courage to say no, not out of fear, but out of reverence for my presence upon your life. Service must never demand that you sacrifice your holiness. Even when you are called to kneel and wash someone's feet, remember that you do so as one who is anointed, not as one who has lost themselves. If your serving costs you your peace, then it is no longer a sacred offering, but a depletion not led by me. Learn this sacred balance, my child, for it is in this very equilibrium that you will be upheld. You will not be wounded by the expectations of others, nor worn down by carrying burdens that were never yours to bear, nor exhausted by trying to be the savior for those whom I never assigned to your shoulders. I am the Redeemer. You are the bearer of light. You are a lamp, not the sun. You are only called to shine where I have placed you, at the time I have appointed, and for just long enough for me to accomplish what I desire through you. My beloved, your peace is not a small matter. It is the evidence that you are in the right place at the right time, moving in step with me. So when you feel that peace begin to drift away, do not blame your circumstances and do not turn against yourself. Step back, listen closely. Ask me to reveal what needs to be seen. And when I show you what must change, obey. Whether that means releasing a relationship, withdrawing from an environment, or simply silencing a voice that is clouding my whisper in your soul, you are called to keep your lamp burning with peace, with holiness, and with unwavering faith. And it is when you guard this flame that you will clearly see, I am not only walking beside you, but I am also working through you, powerfully, steadily, and completely. Now, my child, offer up to me your sincere prayer. Say this: O Lord, my God, the one who draws near to me tonight with glorious presence and divine power, I open my heart to welcome you, not merely with words, but with every breath, every fiber of my soul. I sense that something great is approaching, and though I may not be fully prepared, I trust that the very chaos to come will teach me how to obey and to trust. Prepare me, not by the world's standards, but by heaven's blueprint. Cleanse my mind of confusion, of attachments to things that no longer belong to me. Remove what must be removed and pour into me the courage to let go. I believe that tonight is not by chance. It is the threshold of a new season of grace and divine authority. I bow before you. Do in me whatever must be done. Lord, among the many voices that will speak, among the people who will enter my life in the coming days, grant me spiritual ears to recognize your voice and inner eyes to discern what is from heaven and what is from man. Teach me not to judge by outward kindness, nor to be drawn to borrowed light from unhealed souls. I receive the gift of discernment that you are pouring into me. Help me to maintain holy distance without becoming bitter, to set boundaries without losing love, and to protect the sacred deposit you have planted within me. I do not wish to bind myself to mirrors that reflect pain if it means losing the sound of your voice. Teach me to be wise as a serpent and gentle as a dove, so that I may stand firm amid every hidden test that draws near. O Lord, sanctify the space around me, this very room I dwell in, the thoughts I think, the atmosphere I breathe each day. Let this be made into a true temple for you. I ask you to drive out every influence that has crept in unlawfully, every emotion that is not from you, every whisper of confusion, and every shadow that masks itself in light to infiltrate my soul. Build a spiritual wall of protection around my home, around the devices I use, around even the dreams I will dream tonight. Show me what is disturbing my peace, and teach me that it is better to preserve a sacred emptiness than to fill it with a presence not sent by you. I vow to guard the space of my life as holy ground, and I surrender it entirely to your dwelling. Andita, Holy Lord, I am overwhelmed with emotion at the thought that it is truly you, not merely a feeling, not a shadow, but you yourself, who are coming to visit me tonight. Please quiet my soul enough to hear your breath. Make my spirit sensitive enough to perceive the sweet flow of your presence, and awaken my heart so I will not miss this sacred moment. If tears fall from my eyes, let them be a sign of healing. If everything inside me suddenly grows still, let me recognize that it is you entering in. I welcome you not merely as a guest passing by, but as the eternal dweller of my life. Let tonight's encounter not just move me for a moment, but transform me forever. Grant me dreams from heaven. Speak to me through impressions, through images, and let me know without a doubt that it is your very handwriting the next chapter of my journey. Lord, I surrender everything that is slowing down my walk with you. Set me free from the need for approval, from the illusion that everyone must stay in my life. I no longer wish to hold on to what you are removing. I will not mend what you are intentionally dismantling. Teach me to recognize the value of being set apart, and help me be grateful that you are guarding what is sacred within me. I choose to guard my heart with great care. I lay down burdens that were never mine to carry. I will allow only those you have sent to enter the spiritual space of my life. I know I have not been abandoned. I am being restructured. I am not alone. I have been divinely chosen. My beloved, as the stillness of this moment settles in your soul, carry this word like a precious flame. Keep your lamp burning. Return here whenever your spirit stirs and you long for my whisper. Subscribe and ring the bell, that you never miss the gentle knock of heaven at your heart's door. Share in the comments how you've sensed the shift in your atmosphere, and invite others who hunger for holy clarity. Each week I am here, speaking deeper truths to guide you in courage and discernment. Come back, stand watch with me, and together we will guard the sacred ground of your soul until the fullness of my presence floods every part of your life. Until next time, stay alert, stay steadfast, and keep your heart open for the next encounter. Amen.